During a recent fundraising event, former President Donald Trump basically flat out told oil and gas executives that he would cut their taxes further if they managed to fundraise $1 billion for his campaign. I'm not kidding. This is a report from the Washington Post. They write that as Donald Trump sat down with some of the country's top oil executives at his Mar-a-Lago Club last month, one executive complained about how they continue to face burdensome environmental regulations despite spending $400 million to lobby the Biden administration in the last year. Trump's incredibly blunt response apparently stunned some of the executives in the room. "You are all wealthy enough," he said, "that you should raise $1 billion to return me to the White House." At the dinner, he vowed to immediately reverse dozens of President Biden's environmental rules and policies and stop new ones from being enacted. Giving $1 billion would be a deal, Trump said, because of the taxation and regulation they would avoid thanks to him, according to the people. Now, attendees at this event included executives from the following oil and gas companies. You have ExxonMobil, EQT Corporation, Venture Global LNG, and the American Petroleum Institute, which lobbies for the oil industry. So, Cenk, this isn't really that surprising to us because while a lot of people in this country unfortunately bought Trump's "I'm gonna drain the swamp" line, hook, line, and sinker, he did not drain the swamp. He's always been part of the swamp. And he did all sorts of favors for the swamp when he was in power, including the one policy that he accomplished, which were tax cuts for corporations and mostly the rich.
Pausing here to deliver some honest truth as we do in our news coverage as well. TYT is facing challenges, guys, as the entire industry is. You know who could make the difference? You. If you hit the join button below, it's gonna make all the difference and keep us in business. We appreciate you, thank you. I think this is telling us so many different levels. First of all, in terms of the personal corruption of Donald Trump, the guy is so brazen. I mean, it's, by the way,
shameless, I think, is a really good word because I think most people would be a little bit shy about asking or demanding something in such a blunt way, but he's shameless. He's like, raise $1 billion for me. I'll give you your tax cuts, quid pro quo.
Yeah, and so this is why people accidentally think that he's honest, because he just says whatever's in the top of his mind. But oftentimes what's at the top of his mind is lies. But in this particular case, he's being authentic. He's saying, yeah, I'm a crook and a con man and I want you to give me money and then I will give you whatever you want. Is that gonna hurt the average American? Of course it is. Who gives a crap about the average American? I'll let you raise your oil price without worrying about a thing. I won't charge you anything extra for the oil that you take under American soil, right? Screw the American taxpayer who's gonna get that royalty or not. I'll make sure that we keep funneling $20 billion to you guys every year in subsidies. I'll make sure you can drill in Alaska anywhere you like, offshore, deregulation up the gazoo. Anything you want is deregulated. I'll give you giant tax cuts. And he's not wrong when he says, look, it's a good deal. You guys are gonna make way more from this than $1 billion. And he's right, they're gonna make hundreds of billions of dollars on the tax cuts alone, let alone the deregulation. So it's telling about Trump, but it's also enormously telling about the system. What he's proposing is not illegal. It's actually very normal. He's just saying it at a bigger level and more frankly than other politicians. Other politicians will be sophisticated and they'll be like, well, we're looking forward to raising money and we know that you need innovation and that is why we're deregulating your industry. And we know that lower taxes will lead to more jobs, right? And that's the sophisticated BS that they do on TV and New York Times and Washington Post. Trump, since he's a goofball and a buffoon, he's like, oh, you give me money, you give me $1 billion in bribes. It's legalized bribes, it's legal. You just give it to me, and then I give you 20, 100 billion back of American taxpayer money. Let's make a deal and screw over the Americans.
Okay, so hold on. Look, I find it immoral for sure. He's gonna get, I don't know if they're gonna be able to raise $1 billion for him. but they're gonna raise a lot of money for him. So like, is he a buffoon for knowing how the system works, knowing how corrupt it is, and taking full advantage of that?
Yeah, look, he doesn't know how to say it in a way where he has plausible deniability. That's what I mean by it.
Okay.
And don't get me wrong, I hate the plausible deniability. I hate how our politicians cover up their corruption, and the mainstream media aids and abets them in covering up that corruption, right? But yeah, you're gonna get caught. That's what I mean by before. You're gonna get caught if you go, hey, give me money, and then I give you money even more, right? Hey, knucklehead, like you're supposed to be a little bit more subtle about it.
I mean, the whole event, it's a fundraiser at Mar-a-Lago last month. The whole point of the event is favors for favors, okay? Legalized bribery, that's the whole point of the event. He just says it out loud when it doesn't really need to be said, and he puts an exact number on it, right?
Exactly, and so look, the last layer of this is exposes personal corruption and systemic corruption. But the third layer is, you see how all that talk about deregulation being freedom was BS, and about how lower taxes was for the average guy? No, lower corporate taxes is for corporate executives that were at that meeting. And deregulation is to rob you blind for those same executives. Freedom my ass. This is all about legalized bribery and the sick swamp that Trump would love to run.
And look, to be fair, Trump will deliver for the swamp, because if you look at his first term, he delivered big time for the swamp. So his administration weakened or wiped out more than 125 environmental rules and policies just over 4 years. These environmental rules and policies, guys, protect the water we drink, the air we breathe. This isn't just about like, no, let's help out the oil and gas companies. It's also about, hey, what Trump did puts our lives and our health in jeopardy. Trump's drill baby drill attitude is exactly what these corporations absolutely want to go back to, since Biden has been slightly less friendly to them. So far, Biden officials have overturned just 27 out of the 125 environmental rules that Trump had done away with. And so 27 Trump actions affecting the fossil fuel industry, and completed 23 new actions affecting the sector, according to a Washington Post analysis. The Interior Department, for instance, recently blocked future oil drilling across 13 million acres of the Alaskan Arctic. However, despite the oil industry's complaints about Biden's policies, the United States is now producing more oil than any country ever has, pumping nearly 13 million barrels per day on average last year. ExxonMobil and Chevron, the largest US energy companies, reported their biggest annual profits in a decade last year. And while we happen to be the largest and top producer of oil and gas here in the United States, we also happen to be the top exporter of those fossil fuels.
Yeah, so Biden should go nuts over this. This is an enormously winning issue. And so he could point out the corruption of Donald Trump. He could point out that Donald Trump's gonna burn the planet to get his bribes. And by the way, that polls really well with younger voters, where Biden needs a lot of help. And he could go the extra mile and say, look, you know what? I'm increasing the royalties that the oil companies have to pay for American oil. That is American people's money. And you know what those subsidies, what the hell are they getting subsidies for? They've been around hundreds of years. They don't need subsidies. They're the most profitable companies in the world. What are we giving them $20 billion a year of taxpayer money for? That would be incredibly popular. He won't do any of it. And then you're gonna tear your hair out. But Cenk, those are actually pretty good ideas. That's a constructive critique. Why wouldn't he do it? Well, number one, because he's corrupt. So he's never ever gonna talk about Donald Trump's corruption. Last time around, Donald Trump took $100 million from just one guy, Sheldon Adelson. Biden and his team never mentioned it, even though it was brazen, out of control bribery and corruption. Why? Because they take money from the same sets of people, right? So like, if you're watching this show and you're not familiar with us, you're thinking, which side are we on? We're on the side of the truth. So Biden takes giant gobs of money and delivers for these corporations. So Trump does it in a dumber way. But is there a policy difference? There actually is. So Biden added 100 regulations. They're not overly burdensome regulations. They're regulations meant to protect you and the planet. They were actually really good. I give him credit for that. Donald Trump took away 125 regulations and started drilling everywhere. And climate change is an existential issue, etc. On the other hand, as Anna pointed out, Biden has broken records for how much drilling we've done in America. Record amount of oil production of any president of any country ever, right? So it's not like the oil companies didn't give him money. It's not like he didn't deliver for them as well. Yes, his policies are better than Trump's, significantly better than Trump's, and he's at least helping a little bit on climate change. But with the other hand, he's also feeding those same oil executives. In fact, the meeting started with one of the oil executives saying, we spent $400 million lobbying Biden and the Democrats.
Yeah.
And they haven't given us 100% of what we wanted. He didn't say 100%, but he said they haven't given us everything we wanted.
Right.
Because their assumption is, I bribe you, you give me everything I want.
Exactly.
And so Biden doesn't. He gives them 80% of what they want. I don't know what the correct number is, but it's in that ballpark. Whereas Trump gives them 200% of what they want. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.